Hello everyone and welcome back to the X-Ring. I hope you're doing well. I hope you and your family had a wonderful holidays and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Looking forward to doing some new things in 2025. So one of the things is I want to try to do an NRL hunter match. Now, you know, I've never had a Seekins rifle on the channel for no other reason than I've just never had one on the channel. So what we're going to do today is we are going to look at the Seekins Preicision. This is the HAVAK, the PH2 NRL. So if you want to know more about this rifle for either hunting or the NRL Hunter Series, definitely stick around for this one. All right, so NRL Hunter Series has really taken on the U.S. by a storm. You know, it's very similar to the competition dynamics matches that I've shot before in the past. Love those matches and love the format, and it is very similar to that format. Now with an NRL Hunter, they've kind of standardized it, and you used to be able to only find those matches out west. Now you're starting to see them all over the country, even in the southeast. You can go to places like Coleman's Creek. I think they're starting that this year. You also have some places like Arena down there in Alabama, and then there's also some other ones up going towards Virginia. So the availability of being able to shoot these matches are pretty nice. Now there are 3 different divisions, and this was really designed to make a hunter better, put it in a match format. You're going to be shooting blind stages, but in those divisions you've got a factory division, which this was really optimized for. Then you have an open light, and that's going to be 12 pounds and under. And then you have an open heavy, which is going to be 12 to 16 pounds. So anything more than 16 pounds, when it's all kitted out with your bipod and all, you're not going to see any PRS rigs out there. So you are going to have some limitations, especially when you get in that factory or open light division, because being able to get what you need to do the job at under 12 pounds can be somewhat of a challenge. Now, Seekins actually developed this HAVAK PH2 NRL specifically for that. This rifle comes in at a 6.9 pound weight class for the bare rifle. What you've got to choose is a lighter optic, lighter rings, some type of bipod system, and some type of brake. You're going to be trying to mitigate that recoil in a lightweight platform. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the back, work our way forwards, and talk about everything before we start shooting it. So you do have this thick rubber butt pad. It does a really good job of absorbing that recoil, but if you've got a good muzzle brake on the end, that's going to help with that as well. This is a carbon composite stock. Guys, these are hand painted by Seekins. You also have texturing on the palm swell. Very good looking vertical grip here. In an NRL factory division, guys, you cannot change triggers out. If it comes with a factory trigger, you're allowed to adjust it, but you cannot change the trigger out. So this one does come factory with the Trigger Tech Diamond, one of my favorites. I think you can adjust that from 4 ounces all the way up to about 2 pounds. So an excellent trigger, and it has a curved face on it instead of the flat trigger, so you're just kind of stuck with that. But on the bolt knob, you cannot make any modifications and extend the bolt knob or make it larger or anything like that. This bolt actually has 4 lugs. It is a 90-degree throw. It is very smooth, and it does have an interchangeable bolt head. You can get this rifle in 2 different calibers, one being 6mm Creedmoor and the other one being 6.5 Creedmoor. It does have a really nifty magazine release here, so you're not inadvertently hitting it while you're running around. You're just basically going to press forwards, and it uses the AICS style magazines. Most of your NRL stages are going to be 8 rounds max. There might be some that have more, there might be some that I don't think there's going to be any less, but for the most part, as long as you've got 8 rounds, you're good. It's typically going to be something like 4 targets, and you can engage them up to 2 rounds each. hit or miss. So the way it's set up is if you engage a target, and that very first target is marked with like an 18 by 26 inch placard to kind of help you along. I think most of them go left to right or near to far. But that first target, If you shoot at it, first round impact, you get 2 points. You're allowed to shoot at it one more time if you missed, and you can get 1 point. If you hit it on the first one, then you're going to go to that second target, or you're going to change positions. So typically 4 targets or 2 targets, or it might be 1 target. And you might do 4 positions, 2 positions, or 1 position. So a lot of variety that they can do there. You also have an M16 style extractor. You have a 24-inch, this is a 416 stainless barrel that is fluted. It is a lighter weight contour so that you can make weight on it. And it is a really, really nice setup. You've got good texturing on the fore end here, and these are bedded from the factory as well, meticulously hand bedded by the guys over at Seekins. Price point on this rifle base is going to be $22.95, so coming in under that $2,300 price point. What I did was I threw some things together. What I did was I put the Zeiss, the LRP, the S3 4-25 on here, has the Zeiss aluminum rings, has the Shooters Global, the SG Pulse level on here. And I will tell you what most guys are running, guys. This is kind of like the standard, the rifle of choice. Most guys are not running a Harris like this. What Seekins has done is they've given you 2 M-LOK slots here, so if you want to run an ARCA type rail, you can. I think most guys are running what they call the servos. I have no attachment to the company, but it's SERVOS, and they do a multitude of different rails that attach to this, everything from something that's like a simulated Baker wing for your bags, but it has an integrated ARCA rail down the full length. So if you're shooting off a tripod, or if you want to use your favorite ARCA style bipod. I will tell you that for this setup and to make weight, the bipod of choice is actually the MDT, the SkyPod, and it's the triple pull. Some guys will run a double pull, but you definitely want that ARCA rail on here. Now, as far as the brake, I've got this one outfitted with the MPA, the DN5. It is a steel brake. It does a great job of mitigating that recoil, but because you have to come in at under 12 pounds, most guys aren't running this brake. My understanding, most guys are running the Axis Works, the Enabler 6.5. It's the titanium brake. Very, very effective, very pricey, but it's also titanium and it shaves a lot of that weight. Remember, you do have to come in at under 12 pounds with bipod and all gear is going to be stowed on your pack. So that's the full rundown of this rifle. I'm looking forward to shooting it. We're going to go out on the range. We're going to be meeting Matt here, and I'm going to let Matt shoot the groups for you. And as long as we measure about 1 minute of angle or less, I think it's fine for what we need to do for NRL Hunter coming up this year. So let's go ahead and hit the range. Check out that sweetie right there. He's actually, this is another one of his Coyote rigs, and he's working on some thermal stuff. He's got an I-ray over here that's super, super nice. We'll get into that later. That's for another video. Matt can shoot some incredible groups, great shooter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try Hornady. We're gonna do the 140 grain. We'll do the 147 grain. And then I also have some Berger 140 grain as well. And he's gonna be shooting the top left corner of the red field. Now keep in mind, he's never fired this. And then at the same time, it might not be zeroed for the different types of ammunition. So because of that, he is just going to shoot for group. He's going to aim at the same spot. We're going to go top left with the Bergers on the red field. So here we go, 3 shots. So that's 3 shots. I can't see downrange. What do you estimate that group size? Is it under a minute?
It's right around a minute, if not maybe a smidge under.
Perfect. We're going to do the next 3. Now you're good to go. You're good to go.
Oh, it's all in one magazine.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Now we're going to go top right with the red field, the diamond, and this is going to be 140 grain Hornady instead of the Berger. Is it on paper?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're good. All right, how'd that group turn out?
Not as good as the Berger. Not as good.
Okay.
Probably close, probably about a minute, maybe a smidge over.
Okay, and then the last 3 guys are going to be the actual 147 Hornady. All right, that was 9 rounds in succession. What the 147s look like?
Better than the 140s.
Really?
Yeah, Burger shot the best, then the 140s. Or then the Burgers first, 147s, then the 140s.
Yeah, I know a lot of the guys are shooting the heavier Burgers out of this. I think they're 153s. I'd be interested in seeing how that does. What are your overall thoughts on the rifle, the action, all of that, the whole package?
It's nice. It's light, so I mean, like you said, it does jump a little bit more. But for what this gun's going to be used for, NRL Hunter, it's perfect. You'll meet that weight class, no problem. The brake is super effective. Nice smooth action. I have no complaints with it.
Awesome.
I'd set it up a little bit differently, but
yeah, like I said, this was kind of thrown together for the review. I would definitely set up a few things differently myself. Guys, one of the first things I would do, like Matt said, is I would add a different, I would build up the cheek a little bit with some foam. I would also put an ARCA on there. Might look at a different brake. You know, there's a reason why everyone else is running the titanium brake. You know, maybe not only is it lighter, maybe it affects harmonics a little less, maybe it doesn't push down as much, I don't know. But there's a reason why guys are running that one. This was just something that I could throw an effective brake on there to knock down the recoil. All right, so one thing to keep in mind, like with NRL Hunter, is you're not going to be shooting prone off your belly all the time. You're going to be shooting in very awkward positions using natural terrain. But if you have an expectation, let's say we know that this rifle shoots under a minute with the Burger, then if you get into a tripod position or something where you need to shoot off of a tripod, you need to make sure that you know what it does to your zero, if it changes it, or what kind of group you can hold. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera downrange. I'll show you the group afterwards. But if I were shooting something where I had to get into position quickly, I would want to know what the rifle is capable of from that shooting position. So I am going to be shooting at the top left red field. It's the one we started with the Burgers on a moment ago, and what I'm going to do is I'll shoot it from the seated position, and that way I have a better expectation of what kind of group I can expect, because I'm trying to take a shot at, let's say, 500 yards, and I'm only capable of a 2-minute group or a 2-inch group at 100. I should know that, hey, if it's a 10-inch target, I'm going to be okay, or I might not be okay. That's all what you have to keep in mind when you're shooting these type matches. And you should also practice standing. There's a lot of different things you can do to help yourself, but here we go. Top left red field. Okay, so from this seated position, with this ammo that I just shot, that group is going to measure about just under 2 inches. So I have to know that expectation that if I go to this seated position without it clipped in, just off of a bag, you know, I might be able to improve my position by changing my feet, whatever, but you need to practice that, because you can't have this expectation. You know, let's say you shot a 3-inch group at 100 yards by shooting it off of this. You know, Chris Wade does something with the rifle craft where he does exactly that, because getting groups and shooting off your belly off of a bipod with a rear bag is not going to be the same as doing something like this from an improved position. So you need to know what your expectation is for not only yourself, but also the size target you're trying to engage. Notwithstanding the fact there's no time to try to get any wind, you need to know your rifle number. You're going to have to estimate wind, and then if on these hunter matches they do, I know the one out in Cody, Wyoming, they have a lot of like 30-degree angles, and so you're going to be high on all your targets. So these are all things that are going to come into play during not only real-world hunting, but also during an NRL Hunter series. All right, I hope you enjoyed that review of the Seekins, the HAVAK, the PH2 NRLs. You know, I think it'll work great not only for NRL Hunter competition, but also for hunting. You guys know that I'm getting back into hunting this year. I think we have a trip planned to New Zealand. I'm going to meet Dan Hardy down there. Probably do some stag hunting. We'll see what happens this year, but I am definitely getting back into it, and I think something like this is a really nice style hunting rifle. It is going to be a little on the pricier end, but remember, it is built specifically for this style of competition, and I think it's a great option. You can also achieve better groups through hand loads. Now, typically I don't do hand loads on the channel because not everyone hand loads, and I'd like for people to get that expectation, at least for a sample of one, of what you can expect out of certain types of ammunition. You guys saw that the Burger seemed to shoot the best in this rifle in that 140 grain, but I also have a small sample of ammunition. Could be a different lot number, could be something that's heavier, something that's lighter that might shoot better for you. Either way, I think it's a great option. I hope you enjoyed that review of the Seekins HAVAK PH2. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.